Hello, hello. Oh my gosh, it's good to be here. So, uh, not a lot going on. Just thought I better pop in. I don't know what day I'm supposed to be here. I talk about doing it on Monday or Tuesday, and today's Monday, and Tuesday was booked up. So here I am. It's Monday. And it's almost 12:30. I think 12:30 was the time that I said that I would do it. It's 12:24. I really need to get busy and work today because I'm supposed to travel this weekend and so I've got to do everything a couple of days early. So actually today turns into a work day for me. But I wanted to have a cup of coffee with you all and just kind of let you know I'm here. I'm doing okay. The doctor's appointment went, okay. That's what I did last week. And I have another one tomorrow. So, yeah, it was last Sunday, I think was my last appointment. And so we get the results tomorrow and figure out if we can do some course of action or if I just have to be ill for the rest of my life. So the coffee today is brought to you by Ray's Roast Coffee. And where is that? There it is. Ray's Roast, www.raysroast.com, REYSROAST. And we're drinking coffee with a funny name. It's a Kenya coffee. And I think it's funny because it's in whatever dialect they speak in Kenya, but the word has kind of a dark meaning in Spanish. So it's the Kenya Chinga, and so kind of a cute little name. It's a good coffee, trust me. I'm not trying to like sell you a bill of goods here. This is delightful. I had kind of given up on Kenya coffees for a little while, and they just really weren't satisfying my palate some. And talking with Tim, the fellow we had on here, he's still my sales guy. We're still pals, and he thought this was a pretty good coffee, so I gave it a try, and he was right. It is a good coffee. And so I'm not afraid to like kind of feature it today or at the market on Saturday. You know what I really been featuring at the market on Saturday is my Queen's blend, the blend of coffees that I've created. And oh my stars, it's been my most popular coffee over the years. Of course, it's the only thing that I've had consistently for 10 years now. And so, I mean, yeah, it's changed some because you can't always get the same coffees. I get a bag or two of one of those beans. And then, that one time for a while, we had the same coffee for 3 different crop years? Maybe it was 4 different crop years. So, yeah, the old El Salvador Angel Mountain. And gosh, what a great coffee that was. I missed that. I rue the day when that guy came in and bought the whole year harvest out from under my guy. Rue the day. But that's the way it goes. I mean, business is business. But yeah, the Angel Mountain it was good enough. I mean, it was good to drink alone. And I sold quite a bit of it that way. I sold a lot of that stuff. And but now, the Queen's Blend's kind of in a groove, and it just changes a little tiny bit, a little more frequently. Um, of course, there's other ingredients and stuff too. That's part of the artisanship of stuff. Once you get too big a roaster, everything becomes mechanical, and there's no variation, and you're like dumping all kinds of coffee in something, and some of these coffees take a big full bag, 150 pounds, and boy, I am not there. I look forward to the day where I can sell that much coffee in a week, but I'm not there yet. 150 pounds, I'm close to that. But, and it's neither here nor there. Yeah, so anyway, I probably need to hit the old banner buttons here and show that. And where's that other banner? Show that. Oh, what? Where'd that go? Oh, there we go. So subscribe, get notified, and click like. Let's build this. Let's do this. And oh gosh, all the self-promotion. Ha ha ha. Anyway, life is good. Life is good. So, what do you want to talk about? There's a person out there. A little bit of controversy going on in the world today, but I don't want to talk about it. There was something that I kind of had my eye on. See if I can find it here. Oh my God, what's going on here? I don't know. I thought about the hate influencer, talking about her, but the thing about hate people is they get too much airplay. They're not really worth. Hannah, how are you, dear? As I was starting to say here, talk about hate people. I mean, we talk about that, and it just fuels that. They start getting airplay because of all the people who are talking about bad about them. And oh, it's good to see you too. And now I've got a listener here today, so I feel better. Oh boy. But people like this lib on TikTok or whatever her name is, who gives a rip? I mean, she's like the article I saw. I wasn't going to talk about this, and here I go. She was questioned about why she hates trans people so much, and she had no answer. Nothing made sense. So she sputters and sputters through this, and it's all documented on Twitter, or X, or whatever the hell you call it. And they became speechless and very irritated. And so I'm just kind of paraphrasing what this whole thing talked about. But I think, what do we even pay attention to those people for? I mean, they're spewing all their filth and hate and shit. But if we talk about it and everybody talks about this, then it just gives them fuel. And because they think people give a shit. And I mean, it's not like I don't. I would love for all these haters to just shut up, and they probably would if we didn't pay attention to them, if we just ignored them. I know when I'm ignored, I'm pretty much going to get quiet. And which is, that's me. There's no point in going forward. So so is it cold and wet on the west side? Well, Lynn, how are you today? Well, unfortunately, it seems that we have to pay attention in order to formulate sensible responses. Good point. But I mean, you and I know that we already have a sensible response, because haters are just bullshit. And so I believe that 45 got elected because nobody thought that he could, and they were kind of started off, and he got all that press making fun of him and whatnot. And it's like that old adage: you can say anything you want about me in the newspaper, but just spell my name correctly. And where are you, Volin? I like warm. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, that's like a huge point there, East Coast. Too many people get sucked into the bullshit. The more we talk about it, the more people start listening to them, trying to figure it all out, and there's not enough of us to listen to. So, did you just hear what I said? Did you hear it? I just gave us reason to talk about it as opposed to not talk about it. Like I started off, I rest my case. I should just shut up now. And we should keep talking about these freaking haters, you know, because they'll gain people listening to them. And if we don't counter that, it, no way of what? For me to shut up, or no, I'm not going to shut up. I'll just talk about something else. You can't get me to be quiet that way. That's what I do. When I'm like down at the market selling coffee at my table, I like, this is what I do. This is what I tell people. I'm here to talk. I don't really, really worry about how much coffee I sell. I'm there to converse with people for the day. And I think sometimes people buy coffee from me because I'm willing to converse with them, and the fact that I can sell a little bit. Thank you, guys. It's so nice to hear that you don't want me to shut up. Oh, my stars. What else should we talk about? Uh, or should I keep on this lib TikToker or whatever her name is? I saw a picture of the lady from Goonies. It was on a GIF, and I was like trying to talk to my friend Sarah over in Belgium, that is actually a commenter on here often. Um, but I was showing her this picture, and God, the picture looked kind of like me if I was angry. But do you guys remember the Goonie movie? I love that movie. That's like one of my all-time favorites. Or I have the best coffee. Well, I must admit, I love this. I love this. Yeah, I really have a good quality coffee. Yeah, silly fun. Exactly. Exactly. But the characters in it were just so large in life, and the oh, I just don't even know how to describe it. Oh, look at this. I did not see this. One of these days I'll get over the mountains to get some coffee in person. Well, that would be wonderful. I'm supposed to go down to Eugene this week, Thursday, and see my friend Simone down there. Um anyway, another topic. But wait, how do I get rid of that there? Yeah, I'm talking about the Goonies. That's what I'm trying to talk about. I just love that movie because it was so much fun, and then it had a happy ending, and and the giant dude, um, the giant guy. He's ever endeared into my heart. I actually met a person one time who reminded me of him, and a sad character, and I befriended them until they moved away from where I was living. Um, so did you live down there a long time? Well, I guess if you grew up there, that was quite a while. I passed through there in about 1972. I think it was the spring of 1972, and planted trees for 15 minutes. It was too much work for me. Well, actually, truth of it is they fired my friend, and I was pissed at him, so I quit too. And then we had to sit in the crummy all day long. And another story. Um, so Goonies leads me to the next thing I wanted to talk about was Big Fish. Did any of you ever see that movie? Uh, I think the name of it's Big Fish. My favorite movie, and it's a story about a guy always telling tales, much like I saw myself in it a lot. But like there again, the characters were just huge, weird. Christopher Waltz. I can't remember. I can't remember what that guy's name was. Albert Finney was the guy, and then his son was played by Um, oh crap, I can't think of it. But he's always telling these tales, Albert Finney, and everything's just larger than life. And the guys are 17 feet tall, and then he gets sick and he's dying, and the kid goes around and starts finding out that some of this is like true, as he's dealing with his father's stuff. And so then at the funeral, here comes all these people out of the woodwork, and it's just a really great story. If you ever get the chance to watch Big Fish, do it. I mean, it's another good light. I'm not sure how lighthearted it is, but it's another good wholesome movie, and it tells tales, and so the last scene is very touching. I always cry at the end, but that's a good thing because so many years I didn't cry at anything. And then I was like invited to a birthday party on Zoom yesterday. And after I got done with the show, a couple hours later, I had this birthday party to go through. The lady that I hang out with here local is having a birthday tomorrow, and her family was trying to get her friends from around the world, and she's gone around the country a lot. I mean, there was people there from France and from the other side of the Pacific and Asia and New Zealand and just all over, and I was so honored to be there, and I cried when I got my chance to say happy birthday. I was just very tearful, and it was interesting, the party on Zoom. But what a unique way of bringing everybody, because the kids, the siblings all live in different parts of this country. And then Mary she worked in Antarctica, and consequently she would wander all over the world as she worked her way back to North America after she would finish a tour down there. Because I think they were out there for like 6-7 months at a time. And then they would get 6-7 months off, and go back the next year. And she did that for 13 years. So she's covered a lot of territory. And her husband, they met at Antarctica, and they're just a wonderful couple. And the three of us hang out a lot. And but so, like, her sister called me a couple of months ago and said, would you be interested in coming to this? And I thought, sure. And so it was theoretically a surprise party. And so there was 30 of us there, and all the nieces and nephews and friends and a lot of them hadn't seen her. There was the guy in France hadn't seen her for like 30 some years. That was a cousin. So it was nice, and then the last person that shared had taken notes of what all of us had said, and it was just so touching. This is what they meet via Zoom every week, and they're scattered all over the world. Well, that's cool. Now, I don't do anything with my family, and I never have, even when I presented differently than I do today. We kind of went our separate ways. My brother got into religion, so consequently, I've never had much to do with him anyway. And of course, now he's disowned me, and I don't give a shit. He's just a jackass. So, he used to beat me up as a kid all the time. I don't, he was 3 years older and 100 pounds heavier, always, always. And well, I shouldn't say always, because when I was about 18, I finally beat him up once, and then the next day I was gone, and we've not been close since. Um, so so this is fun. Am I going to travel to France? Oh, I got the wrong one. They moved. My wife rejected me a long time ago, and I don't keep, but my extended family from Miami has proven to be really amazing and supportive. That's it. Why would I go? I love this talking point. That's why I don't really have much to do with my family is they don't really accept me. So why would I hang out with them? We never did that much together. I still talk to my sister quarterly, and I haven't talked to my brother for several years now, probably 15 years, and I don't have any intention to. If he was to call me or something, I'd probably talk to him, but it's not going to happen. He had already disowned one of his sons for being gay. So, and they talk about banning books and whatnot. Our local library went through some shit here a few months ago, and there's still stuff going on about it. But they tried to take all those books that talked about gender and sexuality out of the children's section. And I just upset me, and so my line of reasoning is when you get a kid in your family that needs some support, where are they going to get it? Because they're obviously not going to get it from you parents, and it's going to happen. Are you going to just kick them out on their ear, or are you going to try and teach them something? If you put these books someplace where they can't reach them and have to ask for them, they're like, they don't have the support then, and heck, I made it all the way to the Nation magazine, and so am I going to travel to France to meet my friends? I never wanted to travel to Europe very badly, but I would love to go now that I know people over there that I've met through these shows, this show and the show I do with Marty, and I would love to. And sometimes I think that if I was to get the little bit of money that my coffee business would bring in if I sold it, that I would take a few thousand of those dollars and go to Europe for a tour. I would love to do that because I've got friends kind of all over Europe anymore, and some of them are from and others are from other places, and it would be fun. I know more people in Europe than I know any place else. Although I'm getting friends in Australia and New Zealand. We got Eva down in New Zealand. Well, that's what I was trying to do here as I pitched a documentary about meeting up with people. Um, I was talking to my friend Père Louis the other day, and how he was a typical French farmer looking kind of guy, you know. And God, I just love that dude. I love his wife too, you know, don't get me wrong. But yeah, he's so French, and he grew up in France, and I think they met in Mexico or something. And how come my camera got so fuzzy? There it is, cleared up again. But yeah, those two are just fun to go visit with. I have such a myriad of friends here. You know, I've been thinking about moving, and um, so So I don't know. I kind of I've got I've always been one who moved regularly. You know, I've lived all over the Northwest, from Port Townsend to Boise and many places in between. Back in the days when I drank, I would drink my way right out of a town, and then I would have to kind of move because nobody wanted me around anymore. It's not so much that anymore. It's just I kind of like always having to start over and see what happens. Because here I am in this little redneck community, and I'm pretty well, you know, uh, I'm pretty well accepted here, and got to think about going someplace else. Just like, is it, you know, at this point in my life, is it worth it? Can I rebuild? Whoops, everything keeps moving up right when I get ready to click on it. The unknown is the best part of traveling. Yes. You know, I don't, I've traveled a little bit since I transitioned. And, you know, I've not had any trouble. I used to travel with my girlfriend, you know, before she got sick and died, and she would we would get to the airport, and she would ask for a wheelchair, and so then we would be wheeled around by somebody pushing her wheelchair, and I always was running trying to keep up, and we'd get to the head of the lines and whatnot, and but she would always get, you know, patted down, and so they always patted me down too. So that's the thing about fake hips and whatnot is, you know, when you get that hip replacement, it's metal in your body, and so they got to pat you down at the airport. But anyway, you know, I think a lot of times people really don't care anything about us. I've gotten in some good conversations because I'm trans, and if people are not accepting, they won't talk to you. And so you just sit there like, and I've had that before too, before I ever transitioned. People sometimes didn't want to talk. Doesn't happen to me very often, but I talk to everybody, always have. But I don't know about always, but I've talked a lot to strangers, and every once in a while I can't. I can't. It just doesn't come. I don't know. Have you guys ever had that experience? So, let's see what we got going here. Got Purple Heart. Sounds fun. Oh, when you're traveling, that's cool. And I think that that is a prime example of why we just need to get out of our houses. You know, people will talk to us. Sometimes we have to initiate it, but I think for the most part, we don't always. I don't really have any shortage of people stop who stop by my table. Most people, they're willing to talk to me, and they'll come wandering up and talk about coffee or whatever. I've had babies to kiss and hold on to from, friends of mine's grandkids and whatnot come to see me at the market. And oh gosh, if I've got time, I'll like kiss the babies, pat them on the head. It's like I'm running for president. So get the ride-in going. I have met some really amazing people locally, more so than I ever thought, being a kind of conservative area. You think Cedar Woolley's conservative? Liz Wong. Hi, how are you? 2024, here we go. Oh my gosh. I lost almost who said they were my friend. So I do struggle to get out. You know, that's funny. I mean, it's fun. It's not funny, haha, but funny. Um, in the, I think it's the first episode of that show. What's the name of that? It was on Amazon. Transparent. And it was said, I'm forgetting everybody's name today, but all your friends will change in the first 5 years of your transition. And I've been surprised at how many of my friends have not changed. Some of them I've gotten to be better friends with. One of the years as I was building up to transition, I was kind of like forced down a road of, I kind of enjoyed it, was playing with bow and arrows, compound bows, really the real thing. And I ended up sitting in a blind with my friend Steven. He was also in recovery, and we would sit in there and talk quietly as we waited for the deer to come in. And it's the only time I ever hunted. But Stephen and I became really, really good friends. And so when I was ready to transition, I invited him to my house to tell him I was going to do that. And I thought, this will probably be the last time I ever see this guy. And so I sat him down and we had this talk, and we talked about it for a while. And then when he was ready to go, he said, well, Regina, we'll see you next time. See you next week. And that was it. And he's moved down on the other side of the border into Oregon. And so I don't see him very often, but I went someplace and he was there, and he latched on to me like crazy. So he's still very accepting. It's just the distance is a issue anymore. And, that's what I've found with a lot of people. So last week, I celebrated 32 years of recovery. And 30 miles down the road, I quit going to AA meetings and because of my transition. And partially because I live up here now and it's 30 miles down there and you have to drive home in the dark and there's always deer in the road and I had a lot of excuses. But really it was because I transitioned and I didn't want to go. I'm the one who talks about fear as nothing more than just a construct in between your ears. And so I met this lady at the market, and I could tell from talking to her that she was in the program of recovery, and so we started talking, and she started inviting me to come to this meeting, and it just happened to be the anniversary of my sobriety date, and so I finally went, and it was like a big ass meeting. And there was people there talking about how I'd started this meeting years back, back in the day, and how happy they were that I was there. And it was like, what the hell? What you know and back in the pandemic when it first started, over in Northeast Oregon, which is another really red area. I mean, they're actually talking about joining Idaho, for God's sakes. Anyway, there was Zoom meetings, and I went to a couple of Zoom meetings in that area, and the people running them were still the same people as when I lived there. And this one gal, she kept talking about things that I said, but she just changed my name, never missed a beat, never misgendered me, never, always got my name right. And so I don't think that we lose them all. I think that we just think that we do sometimes. Do we lose some? Absolutely. Hey, I've been talking here and I have not been keeping up with the chats in the comments. So, well, where I would live and there were Trump flags, American flags everywhere. Oh God, yeah. I mean, it's that way here. But Cedar Woolley is a lot more liberal than here. I mean, you're like in between Bellingham and Seattle, or for God's sake. But it is farm country. I'm not gonna lie. And what else we got? Sorry to hear that. I mean, what I feel like is if we start talking to people, they get to know us. That's what I feel like. And people that I thought were ultra conservative, and people about my same age, people my age are fucking weird. Pardon my language. There was these two ladies at the golf course. It kind of freaked me out. And they were both really quiet, hardly ever talked to me, and never really engaged me in conversation. And I was kind of intimidated by their attitudes and whatnot. And then as they got to know me, it took time, but they just started loosening up. And finally, one of them's birthday is like the day before mine, and she's a year older than I am. And we've kind of become friends now. And here a couple, 2, 3 weeks ago, her sister passed away, and she came to me and she says, "You know, my sister really loved your coffee. Would you serve it at our memorial service?" You know, or would you? And so I like changed my schedule and served coffee that day. And the lady's husband, you know, the sister who died, husband came up and talked to me and told me how much her, you know, it was really, really a cool thing. And what I guess I'm just always amazed at the way things keep progressing. And I know that we can change the world if we stick together and give it time. You know, we will make people love us if we're always kind to them. And you know, if I but we got to be out in the public to do it. And I hope that makes sense. Um, it is what it is, and I'm happy really for once in my life, but I still am cautious around others. Well, we all have to be cautious because you never know what others are going to do. But, you know, what I love in that statement is that word joy. So why would we want to hold that joy back from everybody else? Let's go out there and be joyful. And um and that's what's going to get the change, you know. Thank you. Thank you. So anyway, oh my gosh. All of a sudden, what's it? I've been at this an hour now. Nope, not quite. So anyway, you can see what's, oh, I know you do. But come visit me and I'll take you out and we'll rule the world for 15 minutes or an hour or whatnot. I've been going over to like the Tri-Cities, which is, so my friend, I got this new friend and she moved up here from Amarillo, transitioned in Amarillo, Texas. And I thought, wow, you know, how brave it must have been to transition in Amarillo. And you know, did you leave because of the way you were treated? And she says, good God, no. I left because I needed to come up here where my family is. You know, her wife had died a few days before after 5 years of Alzheimer's, and she was talking about how good, and I think we touched on this a little bit yesterday with Brianna in Oklahoma, and how they're all so into each other, and but yeah, this lady talks about Amarillo like it's the second coming of Christ, you know. um and then getting here over to the Tri-Cities and nobody pays any attention to her. Of course, she's been there what, a month or two, and and I mean, you can't build relationships in that amount of time. But you know, I think I'm always shocked about how good she says Texas people treated her. Because we get all that crap out of the newspapers and magazines and the vitriol from social media online and the trolls just kind of take over and make it all, seem so horrible out there. And is it really that bad? Because Brianna seems to think that she does okay right there in Oklahoma. And so I'm always kind of confused by what we read, is it just hyperbole or what? So I have the theory that the place that we should all be is in small towns because we can win friends faster. We can make friends faster in these little towns. And we can be part of the community easier. There's more of a community to be part of. And but more from their peers than adults. Are they really young? Wow. You guys have been absolutely fabulous today, keeping me talking about stuff. Oh, college age. Yeah, makes sense. Now, one of the friends in my gender support group, their son is trans. That goes to Stanford, and the college hasn't been that good for them, in California college. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But yeah, my gender support group, we take in parents too. So yeah, I do that on Wednesday nights on a Zoom meeting. And so anybody from anywhere can join us if they want. There's only like 4 or 5 of us. There's Gracie. Hi, Gracie. How are you? So, yeah. So it's interesting. Oh, so yeah, I'm up about out of time now. So what? Guess that I'm moving east to the Florida to be a caregiver for my bestie. Culture shock, I'm sure. You be careful. You be careful. Well, that's interesting. I want to hear more after you're there for a while. I mean, yeah, that would really, holy moly. Holy moly. So, yeah. Wow. All these superlatives and no content spewing forth out of this mouth. Ah, Oh, I'm sorry about the Parkinson's, but if she's a hoot, she has a good attitude, I'll bet. That'll be good. I used to live next door to a dude with muscular dystrophy. And Chester and I would go out drinking together. And oh my God. All I had to do when we got back home was take him into his apartment, and he always wore logger boots. And I had to take his shoes off and get another beer out of the refrigerator, put a straw in it, and tell him goodnight, you know. And God, he was so much fun. So anyway, I learned a lot about life being next door to Chester. Learned a lot. Anyway, kids, I am going to call it a day now, I think. I have got to get some work done. I have got to. I can't not work today. I'm supposed to take off for Eugene Thursday, and so I got to do all my week's work today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And both tomorrow and Wednesday, I have doctor's appointments. And thank you, Hannah, Volin, Lesois, Gracie. Who else did anybody check in and say anything that I missed? And no, I don't see anybody. And whoever else is out there in the cyber world that listens to this, please leave comments. Let me know if you got questions or questions you want me to answer in the future. And I don't know about doing a show next week. Depends on when I come back from Eugene. God, it's about 6-7 hour drive, so I should stay at least 4 days, but then I'll really have to bust my ass when I get back home, get some coffee roasted. So y'all take good care. I love that saying, take good care. Thank you. So, oh shoot, I forgot I was drinking coffee here. Did I tell you what I was drinking? Kenya coffee? Now it's cold. Anyway, here I'm like dragging my feet, getting off of here, dragging my feet because I've had such a good time talking with y'all. Love you, and please take care and be safe out there and be kind to everyone, regardless, if you can. Otherwise, just avoid them. Love y'all. Bye-bye. Now, how do I get out of here? I got to get my thing going. Woohoo. So, I'm trying to figure out how to get my outro of us hiking those days, all those pictures of the dogs and people hiking and on my other channel, or not on my other channel, but my other StreamYard, and I can't figure out how to transfer it. I don't know where the file. I'm just but like this for a long, long. So y'all take care. Love you and the faith. Bye bye.